صباح الخير يا دكتور اسماعيل.
Good morning, Dr. Ismail. Good morning.
آخر جزء في
The
محاضرتنا
last part of our lecture
إزاي اقتصادنا
would be
اتطور
how our
بعد
economy
ثورة يونيو
developed
52
after July
لغاية
52 revolution up till today.
حضرتك اكيد تقصد ازاي اتدهور.
You mean how it deteriorated? No, developed.
اتطور ازاي يا دكتور؟
How
واحنا
did
كنا
it
بنسافر في
develop
انجلترا وفرنسا
while
زمان.
we were giving loans to UK and US and the post? No. We said that you need to forget what is published in social media. We're talking here about information, statistics
حضرتك
and
ممكن تقول
figures.
لي ايه هي
Would you
الاحصائيات؟
tell me what are the statistics?
احنا قبل ثورة 52
Before 1952 revolution, our economy was based on agriculture and a small number of factories owned by foreigners.
لكن مواردنا كلها
But all
كانت جاية من
our
زراعة القطن.
resources were coming from cotton. Our cotton was harvested and would go to the UK to be manufactured abroad. And they used to take it and repay afterwards.
للأسف
And
كانت صعبة جدا.
the Egyptians were in difficult conditions back then.
هي
Miss
ازاي كانت
Laila,
صعبة يا دكتور؟
how was it difficult?
الصور اللي بنشوفها بتبين
The
شوارع
photos we
نظيفة، ناس
see
متشيكة.
show clean streets.
احنا قلنا ما ناخدش
We
معلومات
said do not
تاريخية من الصور
get
بس.
your historical information from photos and images only.
احنا سنة 37
In 1937, for example,
كان تعدادنا 15
the population was 15 million. Most of them were working in agriculture. 10 million of them were poor. Illiteracy was 90% and bilharzia infected 70%. And when the cholera came, it led to the death of thousands. And
ايوه اتفضلي.
go on.
يعني كده نعتبر بنيناها
So now we have constructed it from
بس
the
ما كانش بالسهل.
scratch. Yes, and it was not an easy job.
وبنينا السد.
When we nationalized the canal, we had the tripartite aggression, and we started constructing a number of factories, and afterwards we had the defeat. Excuse me, I have a question. After the defeat, what happened to the economy? Although the defeat was very difficult,
لكن الحقيقة
yet in fact, the state did not collapse because we have developed a strong economy, and most of our resources were going to developing and building the army until we were able to restore our land in 1973. And afterwards, the liberalization wasted all that. No, we continued. This was a compensation for the people for the years. Of course, there were mistakes because it was focusing on consumption more, but it was a political necessity at that time. They tried to remove the subsidy. How was it a compensation? We might differ according to the timing, but if it would lasted, then it would have negatively influenced development. You mean bridges and roads, Yusuf? Are you going every time to say this? Why are you prevented from speaking? I'm a student exactly like yourself and have the right to speak. Would you turn it into a fight?
انا اسفه حضرتك
Excuse me, didn't you finish yet, Dr. Ismail? No, doctor, I haven't finished. We'll continue tomorrow.
بالراحة على بعض يا شباب. واللي مش فاهم يشرح.
Explain to those who do not understand and be calmer together.
مالك يا اسماعيل يا اخويا مساهم كده ليه؟
Why
لو انت مخنوق من
aren't you listening to us, Ismail? If you do not enjoy being with us, we can leave. Once he came back from university, he was like that. Today I had a student who was very pessimistic, and I felt then that people do not understand everything going on, and this is a student who studies economy. He deals with figures and statistics. Things are ambiguous. People do not know whether we are on the right track or not. Yes, the decision of floating the pound was wrong. The price of everything has increased. You felt that because it happened late. It should have been done 50 years ago, but people were happy.
ايوه لانهم ما كانوش داريانين ان
Yes, because they did not understand that this was a loss.
علينا بقى يا دكتور عشان نفهم لما يكون
Step
كلام
by
فلوس
step, explain to
تفهمنا ايه
us
اللي بيحصل.
what you're talking about.
هقوله لك ببلاش. لو قلنا ان الدولار
If you would say that the real price of the dollar equals 10 Egyptian pounds and the state intervened and said no, it should be only 5 pounds, what happens then?
السلعه اللي بتجي لك ب 100
The
دولار
commodity you receive for $100
السعر المحلي بتاعنا 1000 جنيه
and would cost at a local price 1,000 pounds and would be sold at 500 pounds. This is very good, yes, but it would have repercussions afterwards because the exported project would be sold at a lower price than its real price, and we would consume more and import more because the exports are at a lower
لانه
price.
بيبيع بالسعر الحقيقي.
يا سيدي هو يعني البديل المحلي ده كان ابن عمنا.
The local alternative,
انت مش هتتبسطي كده كتير.
you won't enjoy that for a period. With the first crisis you will face, things would be difficult and the state won't find the reserve. Yes, of course, because we would be in the
ايوه
middle.
ما انت خلاص المنتج المحلي بتاعك
Your local product would have lost and you do not have currency to import.
هندخل بقى في ازمه عنيفه.
And then we will have a grave crisis and an old crisis.
احنا كلنا كنا كمان فرحانين.
We were all so happy because we took sedatives. What's the problem with that? Before 2011, people had it, and no, things were not fine. Otherwise, weren't people angry? Did you forget about unemployment and hepatitis C that infected all the Egyptians and the young people who were not able to get an apartment? And that's why they had to live in unsafe areas. And 60% of the buildings were slums. And we needed schools and hospitals. Have you forgotten that all? Let's forget about the pound. What about the subsidy? We used to pay per liter diesel 3 pounds and now it's 10 pounds because you used to give you 7 pounds from our pocket, not from your pocket, from the pocket of the state. The state's pocket is my pocket. Imagine that this state is like a family. The family receives money through the father's salary and it spends according to that, but the state does not have salaries and it brings its money from taxes. So when it spends it, it needs to know where is it going to spend it. Yes, the state has priorities. It might spend the money on infrastructure, building a hospital or a school or constructing a road and not put diesel in your car.
كل ضربة مسدس في تانك عربيتك من ابو 3 جنيه احنا بندفع عليها 7
We
جنيه.
pay 7 pounds for every time you pay only 3 pounds per liter. This is called subsidy. So it should go to the poor ones. Yes, I agree with you. So we are not only subsidizing the diesel of Aunt Siham's car or the water that father uses to irrigate our garden every morning.
طيب اشوفك في الجنينه تاني.
اخرك
جوه اوضتك.
تصدق انت مفتري يد؟ انت مفتري بجد. الاصلاح الاقتصادي
Economic reform should have been done. Otherwise, we would have faced more pain. And when we came to 2011, the reserve collapsed. So the sedative was over. Every time you tell us 2011, you started to raise your voice like your mother. There has been a change, and not only one change, two changes in 2011 and 2013. The economic impacts were destroying. We lost equals to the current hard currency reserve we had about 13 times. Of course, historical events cause a problem. In addition to terrorism, our losses are not only في terrorism, but we lost billions of dollars. You forgot something, Ismail, to get up and wash your hands. We finished our meal. We came from Tajamma in October in 1 hour and a half. We took this road. It's a very good road.
احنا كنا بنتعذب عشان نيجي لكم المشوار
It
ده.
used to take us a very long time, about 2 hours to come to you. This is the development we're talking about. Will you make me speak again? What do you want to say?
تنمية ايه والنبي؟
What
طرق كمان
development?
يعني؟
Roads and bridges only.
انتوا مش شايفين في اللي بيحصل؟
Can't you see what's happening?
انا برضه سمعت الكلمتين
Don't you see anything except roads and streets and bridges? Yes, okay, 2, 3 roads, but why all these roads? Do we need them all?
محتاجه كل ده ومحتاجه اكتر من ده.
Yes, and it needs even more. We are not a small country. We are 100 million population.
الطرق دي لما اتعملت مين اللي عملها؟
Who constructed these roads? It's the Egyptians.
يعني 5 مليون عامل
So 5 million workers came back from the wars in the region. What would have they done? They started working in the construction of these projects.
انت عارفه احنا كنا رقم 118
We were ranked 118 in the quality of roads, and now
رقم 28
we are ranked the 28th.
يعني كده خدنا كاس
Very
العالم.
good. Then we got the World Cup in roads.
انت هتجلطيني يا سهام.
ليه يا اخوي؟
اسال اخوك، مش اخوك ده صاحب مصنع؟ لو انا مستثمر
He is the owner of a factory. If I want to invest in the country and I do not find the roads, what would I do? I would say I would never put my money in unsafe roads. What would be the case if an accident happened to my vehicles or my project?
وانا راجل وقتي بفلوس.
دي اول صفحه.
Yes, this is the first page in the book of economy. If you want to have investment, construct roads through which these investments would go. We established a road network 5 times equals the road from Cairo to Alexandria, and we have dug tunnels below Suez Canal to construct Sinai. Isn't this development? Not only the roads, we have projects in the railways. Yes. The trains that used to get on fire and in accidents. We had numerous accidents. We had 11 corridors over the River Nile from Aswan till Bihira. So we are not constructing only in Cairo, but in all governorates. This is called just development and not just development. Transport is not important for an investor. Infrastructure is equally important. Electricity, for example. This is the backbone of any factory. Imagine a factory without electricity. Could we have sat like that without any electricity outage in 2012 or 2013? The infrastructure was weak, 50 years without maintenance or upgrading, and instead of having deficit, we have now surplus. Isn't this development? Energy is so important for any investment. If any country has a strong network, anyone can invest in this country. Energy is something very important, and we have excavated natural gas fields, and instead of importing gas, we are rather exporting it now. Are you still discussing the same topic? Here is the dessert. Let us take tea in the balcony. No, we'll take our tea here. I will go out with you. Peasant.
اوعى تكون زعلت مني يا خالو.
Please don't be upset with what I said.
طب قول لي بقى.
Discussions don't make me upset since you are optimistic. To where are we heading? Things are not at its best in the whole world and not just in Egypt. The pandemic was a big crisis, and afterwards came Russia-Ukraine war, and its cost would be even higher. But the prices have increased gravely, but they are there. Did you go to buy anything and did not find it? You have not lived the times when we used to stand in a queue to just buy a
ايوه بس
soap.
الفقراء ازاي يستحملوا
Okay,
وضع زي
but
ده؟
what about
لا، ما
the
احنا
poor
عملنا يا ابني.
people?
مصر
We
دلوقتي بتواجه الفقر
are
أكتر من
confronting
أي وقت.
poverty now more than ever.
روح اقري عن تكافل وكرامة.
There is
شوف إيه اللي حصل.
Takaful and Karama
ولا حياة
program
كريمة.
and
لذلك
decent
حياة
life
ناس
project
كانت
that
نسيئة
changed the lives of
الدعم اللي
people.
عملته ومتضايق منه ده
And the subsidy was taken to do social protection for the people who deserve the subsidy and not those who change their cars every
أول مرة
year.
مبقاش عندنا أزمة سكن.
For the first time, we don't have a
عملنا
crisis
إسكان
in
اجتماعي.
housing.
يعني يقدر أي
We have
موظف صغير
social housing unit,
يجمع
and
مقدمة سكن
any employee now
في أقل
can
من سنة.
pay a down payment, and we are putting an end also to unsafe slums.
عايش في مكان غير ادمي.
طب وموضوع ان مصر بتبيع اصول الدوله
What
ده
about
حقيقي؟
selling the assets of Egypt? No, they are not being sold. They are offered to the private sector, and this happens in countries all over
مصر
the
بقت
world.
بتعمل اللي عليها.
Egypt now is doing its best,
وقال الاوان ترجع
and
للناس
it's
اللي شغالة
time these assets would be given to people who can operate them. The state is creating the suitable environment for investors rather than being an investor. We have a lot of problems. We are 104 million population. The increase in population is 2.5 million annually, one of the highest worldwide. And as the president said,
عايزينها دولة ولا
do you
خرابات؟
want it to be a state or not? Of course, we want it to be a state. Very well.
عايزينها دولة بطرق كويسة.
Then with good roads, without unsafe areas or train accidents or electricity outage, without housing crisis, without people collecting subsidy and purchase Mercedes. We are moving forward towards a better future,
عشان
not for us, but for you, the coming generations.
انتوا فين يا اسماعيل؟
Where are you?
اخواتك ماشيين.
They are leaving.
طبعا اكل دماغك بالارقام.
Of course, he gave you a lot of figures. On the contrary, he explained to me a lot of things. Thank you all.
ما تتصوروش انتوا اسعدتوني وافدتوني قد ايه.
صباح الخير يا دكتور اسماعيل.
Good morning,
صباح
Dr.
الخير.
Ismail. Good morning.
المستقبل مشرق يا شباب.
The future is bright.
مشرق يا يوسف. وانا مش هرتاح الا لما انتوا
I
كلكم
want
تبقوا
rest
فاهمين
assured
وسعداء.
until you are all happy and glad and optimistic.